Surviving America's Autocratic Oligarchy, Part 3. Welcome to Law and Society. Please subscribe. I'm going to go through a few points. So, Donald Trump has announced that he will stop aid to Ukraine, and then effectively Ukraine is left at the mercy of Europe. And I hope that Europe stands strong behind Zelensky and the Ukrainian people, because I believe that that is enough to hold Putin back. I wouldn't be offended if NATO decided that they wanted to oust America from the organization. But Donald Trump himself cannot withdraw unilaterally from NATO. The National Defense Authorization Act that was updated in 2024 has a provisions that says that in order for the president to withdraw from NATO, they have to have 2/3 of the vote of the Senate or an act of Congress, which I would assume would mean passage by the House and by the Senate, and then it would be written into law by the president. So without the official withdrawal from NATO, Donald Trump can just refuse to enforce the law. If NATO states were attacked, they wouldn't honor Article 5 and go to the aid of nations that stood next to us and fought with us when we declared an emergency after 9/11. So, I mean, the betrayal would go deep. And I don't see it happening immediately, but I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Donald Trump, if nothing else, threatens to withdraw from NATO or announces by executive order that he's withdrawing from NATO, which he can't do. He has to, by law, get 2/3 of the Senate or pass an act of Congress that would then allow him to officially withdraw from NATO. So with Ukrainian aid is also legislated by Congress and appropriated by Congress. So he can't unilaterally cancel it, but he can withhold it, and somebody has to sue. I would hope that Congress would sue, because Congress has standing, because it is their laws that the executive, who is supposed to be taking care to faithfully execute the laws, is not executing the laws that have been legislated by Congress. And you take that up to judicial review and take that up to a federal court, and you you then adjudicate, and then the court determines whether the president has the power to do it or not. And the question still remains of what would happen if Donald Trump defied a Supreme Court order in any of these instances. So we're all operating in this sort of twilight zone. And obviously, with the twilight zone came the tariffs. The tariffs against our closest allies and partners, Canada and Mexico, 25%, and then another additional 10% on Chinese goods. Obviously, China, Canada, Mexico have retaliated. And the tariffs on steel is what is reverberating all around the world. Because AP is reporting that Indian economists and Indian builders are are waiting to see what will happen with the steel industry once this trade war things takes off, unless Donald Trump somehow magically says a deal was made or something and says that no, the tariffs are not going to go into effect. That's not happened so far. He has not said anything on social media, at least the last time I checked. Then there's the talk about the $5 million Trump gold card, which I assume would be an immigration fast track to green card and then to citizenship, is it's kind of a gateway to making America like a big Cayman Islands or South Dakota, where Kristi Noem and their legislature effectively made that place a safe haven for many foreign nations to put their money. Donald Trump may be planning on doing something like that. He may refuse to enforce extradition treaties to different countries when these multimillionaires, many of them corrupt or being pursued by the law, decide that they want to buy citizenship and permanent residence in the United States. And the offer that Donald Trump and Donald Trump's various secretaries like Howard Lutnick and Secretary of State, they want to talk about that, say, oh, if we just get 10 million of these $5 million gold cards, we'll be able to pay off the national debt. So they're okay with $5 million plus individuals coming into the United States with permanent residency, but they're not okay with temporary workers with worker permits coming into the United States and living here while working here as farmers and farmhand or other labor that Americans will not, do at the wages that temporary workers or undocumented workers would do. So 10 million multimillionaires, all okay with Americans. 10 million workers, working class people, not okay. Got it. And then there's the crypto thing. I never understood crypto, so I'm not going to go much into it, but what I hear, the short of it is that Donald Trump wants to put $10 billion of the taxpayers' money into cryptocurrencies. I mean, maybe that'll be the payday for his oligarchs, because they're going to then take out of the, start withdrawing their shares, and who knows what happens to those cryptocurrencies that are not regulated by anybody or any entity internationally or transnationally anywhere. So, you're effectively throwing your money down a hole, hoping that wherever the other end of that hole is, a lot of money comes out of that hole. I mean, I'm not sure if that's the best securities bet that the president can and should make on behalf of the American people. And I'll end with this. The markets, when Donald Trump started talking about tariffs, started going down while he was talking. And Asian markets have closed or are closing lower. And we'll see what happens with the tariffs, or if Donald Trump does some last minute gimmick to sort of get a nominal win somewhere so that he can, again delay the tariffs. I don't know if Mexico, Canada, China will go along with that nonsense, but we are in a chaotic place right now. And I wanted to come and, report that to you. And it's going to be laborious for me, but I'm going to do my best to come out and speak these, just talk about these things that I sort of mine through when I look at the news that I find to be relevant for us to talk about. And so I wanted to update you on that. So please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon.